He had to like go around the microphone to drink this beverage. With the handle side, actually you had to switch hands and not use the handle. That was a fascinating...
There was a more ergonomic way to do it, but I didn't have the time.
As they say in acting, that was a fascinating little bit of business you did there.
Nice piece of business. Nice little transaction.
Did you ever see the classic one where Jimmy Stewart is having this conversation with a woman he's clearly smitten with? And I forget what movie it was from. But during the course of the conversation, he is fiddling with his hat, and he actually drops his hat some 7 times during the conversation and picks it back up again as he keeps kind of stammering through his conversation.
Oh, my God.
I want to say that's the
nobody could do it
Philadelphia
like
story,
him.
but it's not.
It was beautiful. I'm going to look it up on YouTube after we're done here because that's the kind of life I lead. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Scott Ott with Bill Whittle and Stephen Green, and we are getting ready for this week's episodes of Right Angle right here at BillWhittle.com. This backstage pre-production meeting is brought to you by the members and brought to you only to the members at BillWhittle.com. And I believe, am I correct, Stephen Green, is this your week for the members only?
This is my week for members only. You know, last week I thought it was my week for members only, so I came prepared with 2 topics, and all this weekend, all I could think of was, I'm never going to come up with 2 topics 2 weeks in a row. I blew my chance last week.
The good thing about your topics, Steve, is that all your topics are evergreen.
Ah, thank you. They never go stale.
Played.
Except I gave you one of my topics last week. No, that's not how it works. Whoever has members has dibs. Yeah. No, for our viewers who don't know this, whoever has members is generally considered to have dibs on topics that week, since they have to pick 2, and the other 2 of us demur to whoever has members. Correct?
Yeah, well, and you would think that this would conjure the bowels of mercy, among the other 2 people, but really we do not. We have no empathy whatsoever. That's right.
It's a bloodbath.
It's a
knife fight in a phone booth.
Yeah, it's ugly backstage here, folks. I won't lie to you. No, I do have 2 topics, maybe 3, and I'm not sure again which order to do. The one I'm dying to do is the big Google story from over the weekend. I guess this broke on Thursday or Friday. A Google engineer wrote this 10-page internal memo, open letter to the company. And what he said was the company's diversity program might be misguided in a couple of ways. He talked about the fact that trying to reach parity between men and women in an engineering-heavy company just might not be realistic because you just don't have enough female engineers, and that trying to do so could actually end up harming the company's bottom line. And he also said, and this I thought was the really interesting point, was that trying to for perfect diversity within the company is leading to a sort of authoritarian culture that squelches actual diversity of thought. And you can probably imagine the sort of sober-minded and fair response that he's gotten.
Burn him! Burn the heretic!
Yes, exactly.
You know, I think they also brought in a new diversity VP or something like
that.
They
did. She's been on the job for just a couple of weeks now, and she published a response. I think that was just today. And in the very first paragraph of her response, which was mostly just a bunch of corporate feel-good language, that doesn't mean a whole lot, she basically just slammed this guy down for engaging in wrongthink. Which was his point.
You know that things are going to get rough for men applying for jobs at Google, because I actually went and tried to do that the other day. And now when you get to the point in the application process, what you're actually applying, the button you get to click says, "I'm feeling lucky."
I love that story. Let's unless you've got the.
Oh, no, that story I'm going with for sure.
Okay.
That one I just love. And what I also want to see is just how badly YouTube suppresses that video. I don't know if you saw this, but maybe we can get into this a little, because YouTube is owned by Google. YouTube has a new thing where even if a video doesn't violate their terms of service or community standards, they can still segregate it away from search results and whatnot because they don't like it.
Yeah, and I was talking with Zoe about this, and also talking to the director of marketing for PragerU.
This is Alfonso Rachel that Bill's speaking of.
And the marketing director for PragerU says that their electoral why was the Korean War fought? That was deemed under 18 not permitted. That had to be over 18 content. Adam Carolla's video, Who You Should Not Vote For, which didn't mention any names, obviously, just simply said you shouldn't vote for a person who's promised you everything. That became adult only, must be 18 over to watch.
Wow.
They said they've got 12 or 13 of them, something like, or 22 on the list. YouTube said it was algorithms, and Prager said we respectfully disagree. And somebody apparently sent him an email from inside YouTube saying, hey, they just sit and watch it and they decide whether they like it or not. And then they will, if it offends them politically, then they will, needless to say, they'll make sure it doesn't get pushed, but they'll also make sure that maybe you lose your funding on YouTube, you don't get to monetize your channel anymore, and they can slap the 18 or over restriction on it. And it's absolutely arbitrary. And as the guy pointed out, a lot of times this happens with us too. Somebody will basically just copy your video. They'll just download it and then upload it to their channel. It happens quite a bit. And they said, funny that when that happens with these videos, they don't get the 18 or over rating. So much for the algorithms,
and they
right?
probably don't get DMCA'd either.
That
Digital
means-
Millennium Copyright Act, where they slap down copies and whatnot.
Let's
So-
just go
illegal
ahead.
copies.
The
I
idea,
really like both of these topics.
the idea that there is like this wing of a building with a bunch of cubicles in it that's like the Department of Unlikableness, and they're just a bunch of guys sitting around watching videos personally and going, nah, don't like. Like, it's like you give thumbs up and thumbs down on one of these videos. When they do it, the video just sort of vanishes from the search.
Yeah, hey, you know what, Bill? You've given me an idea here, and Scott, I think you too. The thing I wanted to do for my second topic, or one of the two things I was considering for my second topic, was sort of this new robber barons we're looking at. Bill, your friend and my colleague Michael Walsh wants to split up Amazon because you think it's destroying teen employment and retail and all the rest. There's talk about splitting up Facebook. Glenn Reynolds has talked about bringing antitrust down on Google for its monopolistic practices, and I think the YouTube angle works in really well with that. We could have a good discussion.
Let's make that the topic because we'll just use the YouTube thing as a lead-in because that's the fundamental issue for me personally. You know, I don't want to find myself on the side of, hey, we need more government regulation, and hey, we need to tell these people who own this private company how to do their business. However, it is becoming the mode of communication among the world.
And it's almost a public utility is
it is, in fact,
question.
I think you can make an extraordinarily good case that it's a public utility.
So, yeah, we'll talk about the new robber barons for one topic, and we'll do the Google engineer open letter for the other. What I don't know is which one is members and which one is public.
Now, who's robbing whom? What's the robber baron thing?
Why don't we have a look at how they go out, and then we'll take the good one and we'll make it numbers.
Right. Scott, it's the I hate the expression robber barons, but I think it's good for the headline anyway.
Stick these progressive Democrats with it because that's
exactly.
Like the Amazon. Oh, I see. Okay. That's when we're talking about splitting up things.
Amazon, Google, Facebook are really the big three sort of digital monopolists.
It's interesting because Black Entertainment Television, BET, their website just posted a story that said a new study has shown that in places where minimum wages are raised, black young people are hardest hit. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I read that and I thought, Democrats mandate fairness, future Democrats hardest hit. I mean, and that kind of story, people should look at that and go, hey, wait a minute, when you try to do that and try to level the playing field, you're actually hurting your own base. And of course, they're all upset with companies like Amazon that are, allegedly paying slave wages. Meanwhile, there are a lot of people out there who are saying, hey, I don't have many employable skills.
And when you come out of a high school that's absolutely failed to teach you the skills that you need, a low-paying job that you can actually get is your ticket out to learn some skills.
Yeah, the young black
This
employment.
has nothing to do with what we're talking about this week.
That's right. The young black unemployment rate is down to about 27% from its Obama administration high of 50%. Anyway,
So
okay.
I'm sorry. I thought that was Scott's topic. My bad.
No.
Was it your top? No. Okay.
No, I went off on the somewhat related tangent. Okay. Oh, Bill Whittle, you clearly have a topic solidly in your grasp. I've never seen such conviction about something I don't even know what it is from you before you announced it. So let's hear it, man.
It's just a small
The trifle.
a trifle, a little bonbon. University of Georgia professor has adopted a stress reduction policy that will allow students to select their own grades if they feel unduly stressed by the ones they earned.
I'm going to need about 24 hours to find my words again.
Good. Well, that's about how much time you've got.
Yeah.
Almost exactly.
Ugh.
Now, do they connect that to tuition? Like, if you desire to elevate your grade beyond what your what your performance merits, that you will actually pay a higher fee for that credit?
They don't say that. I suspect not. I suspect the next step will be that you'll get to choose your own postgraduate level based on your stress level. I mean, you're working so hard already. Why settle for simply a bachelor's? You should probably get a master's or a PhD if it's causing you that much emotional stress.
I feel like a medical doctor.
Based on the level of mental trauma that I endured during my bachelor's degree, I felt that earned me a PhD.
No, I think so.
I should have had one.
So that's what I will be discussing.
Well, that
So
sounds...
people who self-identify as educated.
Let's not go too far.
You know, it's funny because you rarely see that identification. Like, they may self-identify by saying so, but it just is not evident in their conversation or their behavior.
Yeah, well, self-identified and self-evident are just not the same.
Two different things.
Yeah. Yes. So here's the situation with me. I read a rather lengthy interview with a woman whose name I believe was Hannah Dreier. She was an AP reporter that just returned to the United States after spending several years in the beautiful Republic of Venezuela. And when she first got there, she was one of the last American reporters allowed in, if not the last American reporter allowed in. And she found a neighborhood that she thought would be a safe place to live. And her perception was that all the talk of the Maduro administration, the administration of Nicolas Maduro, Hugo Chavez's successor, was really sort of ginned up by the media to attack the administration, that things weren't that bad because her neighborhood was nice and the people she hung out with were doing great. In fact, if anything, they had a problem with obesity because, they were living high on the hog. As it turned out, that didn't last very long. After about a year, here's how she noticed things were starting to turn. She said some of her, formerly pleasingly plump friends, she noticed were losing weight. And then she noticed that more and more in her circle of associates were being robbed and, mugged on the streets and had their homes burglarized. And then she got robbed on the streets. And her friends kind of laughed a little bit and said, well, that was a good robbery because no one got hurt. Then she noticed that she had to carry around a shopping bag full of bundles of 100 Bolivar notes in order to be able to buy just, lunch at a cafe. And she said it was so bad and the currency became so inflated. The official rate was like 10 Bolivars per dollar, but the black market rate was 10,000. And she said you go to a restaurant and you would hand them this shopping bag full of currency and they wouldn't even count it. It would take too long.
You'll weigh it.
It would take too long to count it. That's right. So anyway, it's just, and I'm not attacking Hannah Dreier. I just think it's fascinating. You go from that, well, nobody I know is suffering. How bad can it be? To now, she knows they have a problem. Or at least within the next year or so, she looks out her window and sees people picking through her garbage and sees people being lynched in the streets as thieves because they butted in line to pick through the garbage. And there are literally apps being developed to tell people where a place that you can actually go and buy flour.
Well, yeah, they're eating animals out of the zoos. That's not a joke.
Scott,
and they've lost, the average Venezuelans lost 17, 18 pounds, and that was 4 or 5 months ago. But this has nothing to do with socialism because they're not doing it right.
That's right.
Wrong people are in charge. You know, they say a conservative is a liberal who's been mugged by one of Maduro's thugs.
Yeah.
Well, and the interesting thing is that, you know, obviously the economy's in a free fall. The government refuses to devalue the currency because it would make it look like things aren't going well there. But 90% of Venezuela's capital, its cash, comes from the oil trade, and the majority of that comes from the United States. Recently, President Trump said he was slapping personal sanctions on Nicolas Maduro, freezing his foreign assets and stuff like that. But Hannah Dreier says it's not clear whether Maduro has any American assets. She said,
yes, he does.
Well, she says he may have money in Swiss bank accounts and he may have money in Panama, but it's highly unlikely that, you know, he's investing in real estate in Miami.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it's not that he hasn't shipped money out of the country. In fact, the corruption levels are huge. But anyway, I thought it was a case study before our very eyes of what happens not only with socialism, with putting all your trust in charismatic leaders like Hugo Chavez and his successor Nicolas Maduro, but also the blindness of average, you know, journalists who probably go in there and say, "Well, gee, it doesn't look that bad because nobody I know is starving to death."
We should give her the Walter Duranty Prize for Journalism.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, just wait. I will put money down right now that sometime after Maduro falls, he'll be denounced as the Stalin to Chavez's Lenin. You know, because Chavez, he was doing the right thing, but Maduro corrupted it after he died.
That's right. Oh, the people there, she says, still love Chavez. She said, in fact, there have been times when she was having conversations in the streets with people who live there, and when she brought up Chavez's name, people became emotional. People still have pictures of him. They were weeping when they were recalling what a great man he was. They have pictures of Chavez in their homes.
Oh, man. I got to throw one more thing out there. Dave Burge had one of the best tweets when Chavez survived his first battle with cancer. He tweeted, "Cancer loses brave battle with Hugo Chavez."
If you are not, not following Dave Burge, Iowa Hawk on Twitter, is it at Iowa Hawk or is it something longer than that?
It's at Iowa Hawk. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you should definitely be doing that. It's still the funniest man on the internet. Mm-hmm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for this this pre-production meeting for Right Angle this week, and thank you for your ongoing support that makes it possible for us to do such things. We get up every day excited not only by the opportunity to, you know, find out what's going on in the world and to be able to convey our thoughts and ideas about how that relates to the principles that we hold dear, but the idea that there are people like you out there who care enough to listen. The idea that that are people not only willing to listen, but who care so much that you share it and you like it on Facebook and you retweet and you bring other people into the fold to become members at BillWhittle.com, and you shell out your hard-earned money to do so. So, I see us as a team, and you part of the production executive producers, really, and we appreciate that deeply. So for Bill Whittle and Stephen Green, I'm Scott Ott. We'll see you this week on Right Angle.